2 times negative 4? Negative 8 plus 3, right? Negative 5. Okay, always another good one, 0. 0 is always just an easy one to plug in. 2 times 0, 0 plus 3, 3. Okay, so we just did those by plugging them in. You could find them on the table in y equals. All right, now we're going to find the table for our inverse. Okay, since it's a little bit more complicated of a problem, it's got fractions and stuff in it, let's do that in y equals in our calculator. Okay, so go to y equals. Everybody needs to do this, please. And we're going to put in our inverse function. Okay, I'm going to do x divided by 2 minus 3 divided by 2. Okay, that's my inverse function. X divided by 2 minus 3 divided by 2. To get our numbers, go second graph to get the table. Okay, x divided by 2 minus 3 divided by 2. Okay, I'm going to tell you which ones I want. Okay, I want x equals 5. What's y? Okay, I did second graph after I put it into y equals. Right? When x is 5, y is 1. Okay, what about when x is 7? Right? Y is 2. Okay, what about when x is negative 5? Right. Negative 4. All right, any guesses to what x is going to be? I'm sorry, y is going to be when x is 3? All right, it's 0. Okay, so how do the two tables of inverse functions relate? All right, we flipped, right? When we did our problem, we switched x and y. The table, same thing. They just switch x and y. They have opposite domain and range. Okay, that's what's going to make the graphs look identical but reflected across that line, which we're going to see on the next problem. Okay, so that's another way to check them. If they say, are these inverse, you could put them both into y equals, check and see if the tables are flipped. If they are, yes, they're inverse. If they're not, then no. Okay, so function, table. Okay, next one we're going to do graph as well. All right, we're going to do it the same way. All right, I've got number 2. This one, f of x equals 3x minus 1. Okay, we're going to look at number 1 and do the same steps. Okay, what was the first thing that we did? Change it to y, right? This is y equals 3x minus 1. Okay, then what do we do? Switch x and y. It's very important, okay? That's like the main important thing to remember to do. Switch x and y. Whoops, I didn't do my arrow very good. Okay, x equals 3y minus 1. Then what? All right, solve, right? We're going to solve. We're going to add 1. Then what? Divide by 3. Okay, and last step is you got to label it correctly, okay? I got x divided by 3 plus 1 divided by 3 equals, not going to call it y anymore. We're going to go back to using f inverse, okay? F to the negative 1. And again, on the practice problems, you can stop here, okay? It's getting the equation that's right. But on these, since I'm trying to teach you everything about them, we're going to do a little bit more, okay? We're going to do tables, and then we're going to graph. Okay, we're going to use one of these little graphs and put the graph right here. We're going to do the tables right here. It's kind of a tight squeeze, okay? So I'm going to do like this, x, y. I'm going to do a little box here. And then f negative 1 of x. on this one, on the last one, we just made up the numbers that were going to go on our table. But here, I'm going to tell you which numbers to do because we want them to fit on the graph. Okay, I've already figured it out. So it's going to be -1, 0, 1, 2. Okay, in order to get these numbers, you can either go to y equals, put in 3x minus 1, and look at the table, or we can just plug them in ourselves. Okay, plug in x and then do 3 times this number minus 1. Okay, that's what we're going to do now. It's just to save a little bit of time. Okay, so 3 times -1, -3 minus 1, -4. Okay, 3 times 0, 0 minus 1, -1. Okay, 3 times 1, 3 minus 1, 2. Okay, and then 3 times 2, 6 minus 1, 5. Okay, so then since we have this, now we can find the inverse table as well. Okay, that means what's if x is -4, what's y? All right, -1. They just split. Okay, if x is -1, what's y? 0. If x is 2, y is 1. Okay, if x is 5,